I'm just gonna jump into the topic that we wanted to focus on today, which is regenerative agriculture. Regenerative agriculture, you've probably already, all of you heard of it. It's a set of principles, it's a list of agricultural practices, it's a way of dealing with some of the biggest issues we are facing today, such as climate change, biodiversity erosion, water scarcity. It is all of that and much more. And we are very lucky today to welcome 5 passionate practitioners who are going to share with us their take on regenerative agriculture as a solution to change now. I would like to first welcome to the stage Benedikt Bösel. Benedikt is an agricultural economist. He started his regenerative journey in 2016. He has made its mission to demonstrate multifunctional land use is the key to solving many of the most pressing problems of our time. He also funded the Finck Foundation, focusing on research on agroforestry, holistic pasture management, but also the true costs of food production. He's going to be our keynote speaker today. Welcome, Benedikt.
I shot Casper. Last Monday, 7:30, we had a bit of frost through the night. The sun was just rising. It was a beautiful morning. The air was crisp and clean, and I drove out to meet my colleague Luciano, and we went to the pasture to our cows. As the cows realized we're coming, we moved towards them, and they greeted us. 1 or 2 lifted their heads, and they let us know that they're looking forward to see us. We changed the pasture, so the pasture where they're standing and feeding on, at least once per day. We do this with small mobile fences. So when we came there in the morning, they were already standing together at the mobile fence, waiting to be let through to the next parcel. Luciano and I were standing at the fence, and I looked through the back to see if there's an ox that I can shoot. There I saw Casper. He was standing towards the back. So slowly and calmly I moved through the herd towards Casper. The cows that were standing in front of me slowly moved back and closing as I walked by. I came towards Casper, and I used my body just to move him even back a bit further. In the second where there was no more cows behind him, I lifted my rifle and I shot him in his head out of 4 meters. He was dead immediately. The second where I shot, Luciano lifted the fence and let the whole herd go through. The herd was calm and quiet. 1 or 2 looked around at Casper, but then continued to follow the herd. After a minute or so, the whole herd was on the new pasture, and Luciano put down the fence. My name is Benedikt Bösel, and I am a regenerative farmer. And I want to talk to you about angst. I want to talk to you about death. I want to talk to you about life. We know it's already too late. Climate change, the oceans warming, biodiversity crisis. These things are happening. They are real, and they're going to get worse. They're going to get much, much worse. Now we can focus on what's not possible. We can play a game of who is guilty. But nothing is going to come from that. We have to stop the old system, and we have to shift our focus onto a new system. For that, our angst has to go. I know what I'm talking about. When I took over the family farm, I found myself in a situation where I was highly in debt. I was caught up in dependencies from world market prices, dependencies from subsidies, dependencies from input prices. And we were doing already ecological agriculture on 1,000 hectares of land. But we are basically tilling the soil more or less every year. We were growing monocultures, and the yields were going down. I knew with this way, I will actually make soil health worse, decrease biodiversity. So I knew I couldn't keep this up if I want to be able to bring the farm forward to my future generations, as in my kids. But being in that situation, I got frustrated, and I also had angst because I was worried about the future, if I can actually keep it up. So I had to let go of my angst and to find new ways. This is the time where I write thousands and thousands of emails to people all over the world to look for farmers, for startups, organizations, to help me with the situation of our farm, which is one of the driest areas in Germany and incredibly sandy soil. And luckily I found pioneers all over the world, from Brazil, the US, South Africa, that had shown how regenerative, multifunctional land use systems are actually profitable, but also enable you to grow soil health and biodiversity by closing nutrient cycles. So I learned about composting, how composting and fermentation can be used to health in plants, but also increase soil health. I learned about agroforestry, the combination of thin tree lines that are evenly dispersed over a field, how agroforestry can be a tool to actually take up water and store water, and in addition, offer other potential harvestable products. And I learned how integrating cows in a holistic management into the crop production can actually help me close the nutrient cycle, grow soil, and grow biodiversity. And through this, I realized which incredible potential is out there. And I decided there and then to risk everything I had into that new way. I had to let go of my angst to see the opportunities I had and to actually feel hope again. And this process told me that the most single important thing that I can do as a farmer is to look at nature as the solution. It showed me that it's about how I treat the soil that matters as far as keeping the farm sustainable. In addition to that, I knew that this is the only way for us. So I started investing everything that I possibly could into that new way. Agriculture is the single biggest tool that we have to overcome the biggest problems of our time. Biodiversity, health, climate adaptation, but also education and equality. And that is the single most important thing that we need to understand. We need to shift our focus from an exploitative system towards a regenerative system to overcome some of these biggest challenges. And for that, we have to stop with our angst. We have to look to the future with hope and get active. I'm incredibly grateful to be able to stand here and talk about my experience. Today, we are a group of 30 employees. We have 200 Salers and Angus cows that are roaming freely over our agricultural fields, closing the nutrient cycles, building soil health, building biodiversity. We have built a composting and fermentation institution that can use these different methods to increase soil health. We have built an agroforestry tree nursery that supplies high-value trees for our agroforestry systems. And we have planted more than 7 agroforestry and syntropic agroforestry systems with plum, pear, apple, chestnut, hazelnut, and sea buckthorn. In addition, we have developed different monoculture transformation projects, and we have found incredible partners that are running a market garden on our land. I don't tell you this to brag. I tell you this because you too are change makers, and you too have the power to be able and willing to let go of the angst and to see into the future with a lot of risk. In addition to the work we did on the farm, we were able to build our own foundation, the Finck Foundation, which uses the land as a living lab to research and find the data for these different multifunctional regenerative land use models. And we are incredibly fortunate to have found incredible partners that support us, but we also cooperate with the government, we cooperate with many different research institutions, and we see through that work what is possible. We are at the brink of transforming our agricultural systems that are so deeply in trouble. And through that, we know that focusing on soil health and biodiversity is the tool and driver for profitability in the future. I have committed my life to this work, and yes, there's many things that we still don't know and we still have to find out. There's so much incredible work out there that needs still to be done. And there will always be people that still have angst. They will say, yes, but is it profitable? Is it scalable? Can we actually feed the world with this? And the answer is yes, we can. But we need to shift our focus away from exploitative agriculture systems towards systems, regenerative systems, that are full of life for our future generations, full of life as the meaning and the belonging for farmers, in a sense of actually having a life that is worth living. And I believe that is what we have to do. Caspar had a beautiful life. He had a beautiful death. And he can feed up to 1,000 people. We have a choice. You have a choice. We can either choose angst, be afraid to fail, be afraid to lose, be afraid to be hurt, or we can choose life. We can choose hope. We can choose love. I am incredibly hopeful. And there are so many incredible institutions out there, and there's so much to do. So get involved in it. After all, there's only 3 things that matter in life. 1, how much you loved. 2, how gentle you have lived. And 3, how gracefully you let go of things that were never intended for you. Thank you very much.